Hey guys, welcome back to the show. My name is Ron, and today I want to tell you a little bit about a camera made for the German market in the 80s, because even though it is not as popular or as common as a 35mm camera, I kind of didn't find anything when I was starting out using this camera, and I just thought maybe other people might have the same problem as me when starting out using or maybe wanting to buy this camera. And why not add my 5 cents to the history of YouTube? So yeah, here we go. This bad boy, the RevueFlex SD1, aka the Chinon SC4, was made or produced in the early 80s in Japan by Japanese manufacturer Chinon, which actually just rebranded their Chinon SC4 camera models to apply to the German market a bit more, and that's where it's got its name, the RevueFlex SD1. So if you're looking to get information on the Chinon SC4, it is basically the exact same camera model. You can look them up, they're identical. All that changed is the name on the front, but otherwise you're going to have the exact same review. So yeah, this camera is a 35mm camera, takes any kind of 35mm film. No medium format or large format. Of course, you can see that it's a very small camera. It has a lot of plastic for a old kind of camera. Definitely not as much metal as some other contemporary cameras have, but it's still pretty nice actually. I like the feel of it. It is not heavy, but it's also not that lightweight. It's nice to carry around. I like it when I do some street photography. And I have already dropped this, so I can tell you it is still built like a tank, even though there is a lot of plastic on it. You might see that here I have like this small bend. Yeah, that's because I dropped it. But apart from that, it pretty much still works, and it is in pretty much perfect shape still. So yeah, its build quality is pretty good. And before I forget to mention it, it has a M42 screw mount. So instead of just a bayonet mount where you just like do this button and you just click it on for one turn, you actually have to like screw it on. It's like you screw like a light bulb. And yeah, like I said, 35mm M42 mount. You can have a lot of lens options for this. I am currently using this 50mm f1.9, also produced in Japan from Chinon, which I guess is also kind of Chinon rebranded market. And yeah, this is just like the kit lens, and it works great. f1.9, I can do some really nice portraits with this, but I can also go down to f16. So yeah, really nice lens, really nice options. You can get a lot more, and yeah, definitely good camera system. With this camera, you only get one mode, which is manual, but it is a very nice manual mode, I find. It is very pleasing to use as you get a nice viewfinder, a lot of nice help for you to get nice focus, as well as a metering system, which I will cover later. You can set your shutter speeds all the way from 1 whole second to 1/1000th of a second, which is pretty okay. I've seen cameras with less. And you can also set your ISO, so your meterings will be correct to the film that you're shooting right now. You can set it all the way from 25 ISO all the way to 1600. And if you want to use a flash with this, this is also possible. You have the mount right here. There is an electronic mount. I have tried it, not too extensively, but it does work. And it has a flash sync speed of 1/60th of a second, which is actually written on it in orange, so you don't have to memorize that, you actually can see it on the dial itself. And both the ISO and shutter speed is actually set on the same dial. For one, if you want to just set your shutter speed, you just turn it normally and it clicks in really nicely. And if you want to change the ISO, there's like the little window inside, and if you actually lift up your black ring and then turn that, it will change your ISO too, and it's like more fluid than the other one, but it still kind of clicks in a bit. The other thing which you can spin on this camera is of course the film lever. It has a really just normal film lever, nothing special here. You just flip it up. You can then open the camera back to via this lever. You just pull it up, then that's releasing the film, and after that you just have to pull it a bit more in order to open the back door. Then on the right side, beside our shutter speed dial, you have the shutter button, which is kind of like open, I guess. So you can actually connect either an external release cable or a soft shutter release button, which both just screws in here and then you press on it, or you have like this external thing. And the film advance lever is actually right next to that. So it's not the same thing as I have seen on other cameras, because I have one camera right here where the release button or the shutter button and the advance lever are actually the same thing, which is okay, I guess, but I like it more here. So you have like one button to click on and the other you can just do again advance your film. And next to that, we have our little scala, or not scala, but our little counter. So we can see how much frames we have already shot, aka how much we have left. It starts on, I believe, S, which is just about like empty. It resets to S also when you open the back door. And then you have to advance, I think, 2 times before you then get to the 1. And that's where you know you have your first shot. I like to still make proper images before that, just in case the camera metering is wrong. I have gotten like half pictures out of that, but they're never too important, so I don't mind that. But I was just be careful with when your film actually starts. And this counter actually goes up to 36, but also has a little implementation with a orange/red 24. So if you're shooting a 24 exposure film, you will know when to stop, or at least the camera will give you like an extra notice. Otherwise, you just go on to 36, and that's all you can go. Coming back to the viewfinder and our little metering system on the back, I find it to be really comfortable. I've gotten really fast, even though it's full manual. I really like shooting with this, even in street photography sessions. I am quite fast with this now that I'm like confident shooting. And this is because of exactly this really nice viewfinder and a really simple and easy to use metering system. So let's start off with our viewfinder. We have this little circle which you will see in the middle, and inside of that circle there is a smaller circle which is split into 2. One that is like broken up into 2 semicircles is what we call a split prism spot, and the outer ring is called a micro prism collar. And basically how I always use this is I actually almost always use the split prism primarily, which is basically you get 2 images on both semicircles and you just turn your focusing wheel until the 2 images which you see line up, and that's when you know that whatever you're seeing through that spot is actually in focus. It's actually really quick, and it's especially nice on lower apertures where there's only a small bit which is actually in focus and there's a large depth of field. It is really nice to have that specific focusing mechanism, and I find it to be really useful. And sometimes when you're in bright or contrasty situations, one of the semicircles might go black. This is not about the focus, this is just simply because the sun is hitting into your lens. And in that case, you should actually try to use the microprism collar, because this basically has like little prisms, like it says like little micro prisms inside of this collar, which give you like a texture when something is out of focus, and they will be see-through, or they will kind of disappear whenever you put something into focus. And with the help of these 2 focusing systems, you can focus exactly on what you want your image to look like. And right next, or kind of on the viewfinder, but not inside the viewfinder, you can actually see 3 little dots, I guess, which when you have the camera turned off, don't do anything. However, when you turn it on, which you do via this little lever, which I just have to pull up and it will stay there. It's right beside this lens right here. And you can basically, and then just pull it down again. And whenever you pull it up, the metering system will show one of 3 dots, either one of the red ones, which is on top or on the bottom, or the green one. And like you might guess, the one in the middle, the green one, just means that whatever you're looking at is correctly exposed or quite in the middle exposed 0 stops over or under, while the red dot tells you that it's overexposed and the red dot on the bottom tells you that it's underexposed. It does not tell you how much stops or based on what area of the image this camera is basing it on, but I always like to just first get to the green dot so I know what would be the right exposure, and then I like to expose my film 1 or 2 stops over, and I just turn my aperture either 1 or 2 clicks further, and that's how I know how many stops I'm overexposed. I also forgot to mention that inside the viewfinder you do not have any other information other than what is in focus. There are no numbers, no scalas, no data from your shutter speed, aperture, whatever. You cannot see any of that. It is only the image, which I actually quite enjoy, because I just first set my settings and get my exposure right, and then I just try to focus myself on the composition and framing my shots right. And apart from an external shutter release or like a soft shutter button, you also have some other connection on this camera. Not too much, but it's decent. Like I said, you can mount a flash on top of this. It's just a standard hot shoe mount with an electronic connection in case you're going for something like that. On the bottom side, you will find just your battery input with a lid on it, which you just turn with either a screw or like a coin. I always use a coin. You also have a standard tripod mount, which is really nice, especially if you're using those long exposures. And also there is this little button which you need to press in order to rewind your film. Basically, without pressing that button, your film won't rewind. And the way in which you do this is just you get your lever, you just push it in, and then you just push your lever back until you kind of hear it a bit when the film gets out of the right side of the camera, and then you just do it a couple times more, and then you can let go of this little button, and you can get your lever, pull it up, open the camera, and yep. And on the front of the camera, apart from this little thing which turns on the metering and shows you like the actual depth of field, you also have this little red bulb, which many might suspect is the metering, but I actually read about it and it is not anything to do with the metering, so there's no problem if you accidentally cover this up while shooting. It will not give you wrong meterings. It will actually just show you how long your shutter is open, so when you click like a 1 second exposure, you can simply see this right here. I don't know how you would use that, but I guess it's just on there for the sake of it, and I guess it's nice to have. So yeah guys, that was already it for today. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I hope you are curious to use the RevueFlex SD1. I hope you now know a bit better on how to use this. I hope I gave you some insights on the functions and what kind of things these camera might be able of. And yeah, I definitely enjoy using this camera, especially because of its simplicity. There aren't that many features to it, but that's kind of what I enjoy so much about it. And yeah, I'm gonna continue using this, I think, for much more time to come. And I hope if you're looking at buying one, definitely go ahead. They are so cheap right now. You can basically buy 3 of them if any of them break. So I would definitely recommend getting this, even as your first film camera. I don't think you need any other modes like aperture priority or fully automatic. I think this manual mode is brilliant, easy to use, especially with what I said about the metering system and this viewfinder. I like it a lot. It is so satisfying to use personally. And yeah, it's just overall a really nice camera, which I really recommend using for you guys. And yeah, that is it for this review slash guide. I hope you have a good day, night, whatever. And yeah, that's it for me. Chill out. Don't forget to breathe. Have fun. See you guys in the next one. Did you guys even notice that that wasn't like part of the original video? I just, like, while editing this, I just noticed that I didn't record an outro. So this is like kind of, that's why you have this perspective and not the normal perspective of the whole video. Did anyone even notice that? Let me know.